Welcome to Carter's Corner Pocket, where we feel the rocket. Today, I'm talking GameStop, the undefeated, the stock you never knew you needed. $1 billion cash to crush the conceited. Long-term debt, nah, we don't need it. RC in the building and he's ready to lead it. To buy and to hold is all that is needed. Can't stop, won't stop, GameStop. Let's go. Alright guys, let's take a look at GameStop. The highs, the lows, and everything in between. January 2021, it reached a high of $480 pre-split, which is $120 as you can see here, and a low of $9.63. Look at me. $9.63. We are approaching that low after the buy button was turned off. Right now we're trading at $10. I'm going to get my buy-in before the market closes, so I'm going to have to probably pause this video. Look at this giant falling wedge that breaks upwards. They are trying to prolong this. They have rolled their debt out to a later date. That's what countries do. These people operate like their own country, their secret hidden country that nobody has access to their information. All self-reported data. Too big to fail? You failed. You're fighting us, me, and millions out there holding these shares. Look at this giant falling wedge. Price action consistently closing lower and lower, but the on-bounds volume consistently goes higher and higher. This is when retail shareholders bought up all of the shares, and we have held and held and held, and we will keep accumulating, keep buying until your ego sinks. Till you feel that feeling in your gut. Till there's no way out, and you have to admit your wrongs. Ryan Cohen has buy orders at $100, and we're trading at 40. Are you serious? Drop it below 9. Let's go. A reminder of this guy, Dracula himself, talking about GameStop and how it nearly crashed the entire market, financial markets. GameStop is a problem. Listen in to Thomas Petterfy, Dracula of IBKR.
Brokers founder and chairman Thomas Petterfy. Thomas, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. My first question is, are you surprised and or disappointed not to be a part of the hearing tomorrow?
Oh, no, I'm neither surprised nor disappointed. This is just fine for me.
Just fine. I can imagine. So what do you think will be the focus? Because there's lots of angles here, whether there was insider trading, whether the likes of Robinhood hurt their customers, and whether the likes of Citadel are abusing their power. What do you think is the key focus and the likely outcome?
So what I would like to point out here, that we have come dangerously close to the collapse of the entire system, and the public seems to be completely unaware of that, including Congress and the regulators. So let me explain to you that on January 26th, Game had closed at $77 a share. The following day, it closed at $148. The following morning, on January 28th, the stock opened at $355 and traded up to $480. At the same time, Game had 50 million registered shares outstanding and a short interest of 70 million shares. In addition, there were about 1.5 million calls, which would call for 150 million shares. If the longs repay their margin loans and exercise the calls, their brokers would have been obligated by the rules, as they are today, to deliver to them 270 million shares, while by only 50 million shares existed. So when the shorts cannot deliver the shares, the broker representing the longs must, by the rules of the system, go into the market and buy the shares at any price, pushing the price into the thousands. So as the price goes higher, the shorts default on the brokers. The brokers now must cover themselves. They push the price further up. So the brokers default on the clearing houses, and you end up with a complete mess that is practically impossible to sort out. So,
As I said before, GameStop is a problem. You heard him talk about short interest. Take a look at this. Here's Ryan Cohen's buy orders. $25, $4, $22. This guy's buying in the 80s, the hundreds. I'm buying in the 40s. The CEO is buying in the 80s, and I'm buying in the 40s. How much of a discount? He's not going to sell. He is not going to sell his shares. After his initial buy-in, his value of his shares went to $4.5 billion. He could have made out with a ton of money and sold 0 shares. He has only purchased more since then, and he owns 36.8 million shares. Ryan Cohen gets paid $0, working 24/7. He's the CEO and chairman of GameStop. Larry Cheng, board of director, buying in. Alan Adel, board of director, buying in. Ryan Cohen, the top, getting paid $0, buying in. The share price going in is how Ryan Cohen gets paid. We're here till the end, and we will never sell. I feel like I'm obligated to play this video.
I had one situation, actually an arbitrage situation, when I moved to New York in 1954, so it was about June or July of 1954, that involved a surefire type transaction, an arbitrage transaction. It had to work. But there was a technical wrinkle in it, and I was short something. And I felt like for a short period of time, I felt like Fanova was feeling last fall. I mean, it was very unpleasant. You can't make, in my view, you can't make really big money doing it because you can't expose yourself to the loss that would be there if you did do it on a big scale. And Charlie, how about you?
Well, Ben Franklin said if you want to be miserable, during Easter or something like that, he says borrow a lot of money to be repaid at Lent or something to that effect. And similarly, being short something, which keeps going up because somebody is promoting it in a half-crooked way and you keep losing and they call on you for more margin, it just isn't worth it to have that much irritation in your life. It isn't that hard to make money somewhere else with less irritation.
It's got to be tough being a shorter of GameStop. Almost 25% short interest. Another $6 million shares added. 6 million shares added to short interest. Days to cover are climbing. I reported it at 10, and then 16, and now it's approaching 19 days to cover. Shareholder equity is over $4 in GameStop. This stock will not go down. They have more assets than liabilities. $1 billion in cash. $17 million long-term debt, which can be paid off anytime. That's a French COVID loan forced on them. And this is the guy that's working for us, getting paid nothing. Listen to his work ethic. He is CEO now.
I put myself in a position where I can be involved strategically, but not putting myself in a position where, once once I'm CEO, with Chewy, and I guess this is just my work ethic and the way that I am. If I'm the CEO, I'll basically work myself to death, and I can't control myself. I'm an extremist, so I didn't want to put myself in the same position. I learned my lesson after Chewy, and then I have to control myself. I'm my own worst enemy.
You've hired.
He's working himself to death right now. Us, as investors, we're working ourselves to death too. You, me, we're buying shares, we're relaxing, we're holding, but we're working ourselves to death. All right, it just passed market close. GameStop closed at $10.07. I really don't see it coming any farther down, but if it does, hey, I'm gonna buy more shares. Look at the divergence on this. Stock price falling, OBV rising steadily. And it's going to keep rising because we're going to keep buying and we're going to keep holding. Remember, ask not what your company can do for you. Ask what you can do for your company. The shirt I'm wearing, you know where I got it. The next shirt I'm going to buy, you know where I'm going to get it. The shares I'm buying, you know what it is. And now, I'm going to leave you with this.
I just wanted to get your sense, your feel for what's happening right now.
This is a complicated situation. I can't pick either of the two as the path. What I can tell you is the following. I'm worried that people no longer say it's worth going all in on a dream.
So we are getting some bird and privilege
I don't know if I've worked my whole life to live like this.
exercises. We're getting engaged.
Used whenever anybody ascribes conscious intent to people with power. So I can say to you that school teachers are concerned about their salaries and they're organizing and they're threatening a strike and they're pressuring. I can say to you that farmers are doing this and looking for subsidies and facing certain policies. But the minute I say to you that the very people at the top, the plutocracy, the very rich and powerful, the ones who own most of America, that they are consciously pursuing power and wealth, someone will come along and say, what do you have, a conspiracy theory? Or they'll say, oh, you're cynical or you're paranoid. Their view is that stuff just happens. Things just happen, unintended consequences, or our leaders are stupid and they're jerks, or they're confused and they don't know any better. And of course, the critic knows much better than everybody else. People who operate in this world operate with intent. There's no such thing as imperialism without imperialists. There's no such thing as capitalism without capitalists. There's no such thing as rulers who are somnambulists who walk around in their sleep. You watch out for your interests. You watch out and you make calculations. What makes you think that David Rockefeller doesn't? What makes you think that the people at the top don't do it? And what makes you think they don't collude and organize? Or what do you think? You have a group of people who sit around in a room and they plan this? And I always say, oh no, God, they don't sit around in a room. They meet on carousels and they go up and down merry-go-rounds, or they meet skydiving and they hold hands and they argue. Of course they.
Of course they do. Look at it. What has changed since GameStop reached these highs of $120? Ryan Cohen has become CEO. He's made the company profitable. More board of directors have bought in. Retail shareholders continue to buy. The only thing that's changed are people that are short GameStop. Can't stop, and they won't stop. they're digging their own graves. Remember, buy, hold. That's all I need. What you need, that's up to you. I know that I can't stop, I won't stop,